Welcome to the How to Make a Snowflake in SolidWorks screencast. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to use some different tools in SolidWorks that can help you mirror images or use a circular pattern tool to create, something like this that has symmetry in a circular way, and also symmetry around particular axes. Okay, so to get started, we're going to create a new part. File, new. Most snowflakes, which is what we're going to create, actually apparently have 6 sides. So we're going to make a hexagon. One way of doing that would just be to sketch a hexagon. But if I want to use a circular symmetry in some of my cuts, I'm actually just going to make the triangle that's 1/6 of a hexagon. So to do that, I'm going to click on Extruded Boss Base. I'm going to select the top plane. In my case, I'm going to make the snowflake about 4 inches tall, which means the first line that I'm going to draw, which is going to be part of our triangle, is going to be 2 inches tall. I'm going to draw another. I'm also going to make that 2 inches long. And then these two lines, I'm going to make a certain angle apart. And the way to think about this, a whole circle would be 360 degrees. I want this angle to be 1/6 of a circle, and so I'm going to make it 1/6 of 360, which is 60 degrees. To get that dimension, I'm going to click on one line, click on the other line, this is using the Smart Dimension tool, and then place that angle measurement out there. I'm going to type in 60 degrees, or just 60 is fine. All right. In between each of these, going from the line in Smart Dimension, I've been clicking Escape on the keyboard, and then I'm going to go back to line, draw a line, click Escape, and we're done with that triangle. Okay, next, Exit Sketch. Since we started off by clicking Extrude Boss Base, it asks us how tall to make it. I'm going to do 1.125 inches, which is the thickness of a piece of 1/8 inch plywood, which is what I'm going to be laser cutting this out of. You could also 3D print or laser cut this, depending on what tools you have available. All right, check mark. So this is a triangle. If we look at it from the top view, this is going to be 1/6 of our snowflake. Okay, next we're going to use what's called the Circular Pattern tool. Up in the Linear Pattern button, if you click the arrow underneath, it has lots of different options. I'm going to click Circular Pattern. Under Features to Pattern, I'm going to click on the triangle that we just made. If you hover over the first box, it says Pattern Axis, and we want to revolve this around that axis right there. So I'm going to click on that line, and there you go. This is already saved settings for me from when I created this just a few minutes ago in practice. Yours might not have selected equal spacing. It might look something like this. In this case, it says that in between each pattern, it's going to be 15 degrees, and it's making 6 of them. Or you could decrease that, and it's only making 2 15 degrees apart. If you click the equal spacing button, it'll figure out how to space this number equally around 360 degrees. And I'm going to make it 6 of them fit around 360. That looks good. Check mark. All right, now we have a hexagon. Okay, next, I'm going to still imagine that first triangle that I drew and cut some holes in here, and then we're going to use the Circular Pattern tool again to go around and make those holes follow a pattern. So I'm going to click Extruded Cut. I'm going to select just this whole piece, and then I'm going to cut some holes. How about here, here, maybe another one right here. All right, and I'm using these circles. You could take other things. You could do octagons or draw some of your own shapes. I'm just going to put 3 circles in here. All right, check mark. Exit Sketch. This is asking me how far I want to cut. It's cutting all the way through. That's good. Check mark. And there we go. So right now that didn't repeat it yet, but now I can do that. So I'm actually going to go back to our Circular Pattern tool. Actually, before that, I'm going to drag this up in front of the circular pattern so that the circular pattern can reference it. So that's just kind of changing the order that I did those things. Then click on the circular pattern tool, click once on the icon, and then click once on edit feature. Now, so far what it's repeating is just the extrusion, just the original part. If I click in this box, I can also select, it's not working, select the circles. Actually, here's how to do it. If you click, so I clicked in this box, click up on the top left, it says Feature Manager Design Tree. That will open up all of the parts that you've made so far. If I click on Cut Extrude 1, it also adds that to the Features to Pattern. Okay, now that I've done that, I'll click check mark, and there you go. Those holes are repeated in a circle just like we repeated that original triangle. Okay, so that's one step of making our snowflake. Here's some other things we can do. We can use some tools to mirror some of our other cuts. So I'm going to sketch what's called a center line. This is basically an imaginary line. Clicking on the face, click on the point to point. This is an imaginary line that I'll make go right through the middle. Hit escape because I only want one. That won't show up on our actual part, but we can use that line as a reference as we're drawing things. Next, I'm going to click on a line, and I'm going to try to make a sort of triangular shape pattern right here. Both of these points I'm putting directly on this line. And I'm going to complete this by bringing it all the way up there. I'm going to hit escape. And then there's also a button here I'm going to click calling Mirror Entities. Entity is another word basically for thing. This line and that line, that's what I want to mirror. And I'm going to mirror it about an axis. The axis I want to mirror it about is this line that the imaginary line that we drew. Okay, when I click check mark for that, you'll see that it mirrors that and makes a pattern. Okay, exit sketch. Now, this sketch, I also want to do a cut for. So I'm going to go into Features, Extrude Cut. When it says Selected Contours, I need to select the actual region that I want to cut. So there and there. Click check mark. And I've got that cut. All right, next, to make this look more like a snowflake, I'm going to click on the cut, and then I'm going to select the circular pattern tool. All right, since I already clicked on the cut, it knows that that's what I want, the feature that I want to make a pattern of. Oh, and I'm just realizing now there's a problem. I don't have anything that I can easily click on for the axis. So I'm actually going to go back a step and create an axis. So let's do this. I'm going to sketch. I'm going to make a new cut, extruded cut on this face. I'm going to cut a circle, and I'm going to make sure that circle starts in the very middle. The exact size doesn't really matter. That looks good. Exit sketch. Cut all the way through, yes. Okay. Now, going back to our cut extrude number 2, that diamond, and now hit the circular pattern tool. The feature of the pattern is that extrusion right there. The reason that I needed to cut a circle is I needed an axis for this to be revolved around. And so if I go click on this again, now I can, which says pattern axis, now I can select that circle, and it's going to revolve that around that circle. It has the same default settings as before. It's going to go 6, spread around 360 degrees. I could change that if I wanted to. I could try 12 or 10. Those things won't really fit the way I put my circles, so 6 looks good. Okay, check mark, and we're done with that. All right, so that's starting to look a bit like a snowflake. A couple other things you could do. We could do some cuts on the edges. And actually, I'm going to go back to this cut extrude, click plus, so I can see the sketch. Click once on the sketch, once on edit sketch. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Cut extrude 2 is what I want to look at. Plus, click on the sketch button, and then edit sketch. And then I'm going to draw some other things that I also want to pattern. So let's say I also want to cut out the triangle kind of right around here. How about some smaller ones right here? And here. So you can see I'm not really caring about dimensions so much. If you want to, you can. I'm just doing this visually, something I think looks good. Exit sketch. Now going back to extrude that cut that I made, I'm going to edit the feature. And right now it's the only contours that are selected are the ones that I selected earlier. So I click on selected contours, and I'm also going to check mark those other triangles that I just made. All right, check mark to be done. Whew. And you can see that that repeats that pattern throughout the whole thing. Okay, so this is just one way of creating a snowflake. There's some other options too. The main thing I wanted to show you is how to use the circular pattern tool and how to mirror things, and a few other tools along the way. All right, good luck making your own snowflakes.